Have you ever felt like the more intensely you chase something, the faster it seems to run away from you? Have you ever poured every ounce of your soul, every fiber of your being, into forcing a door open only to find it sealed tighter than ever before? This isn't just a feeling, it's a spiritual signal, a divine whisper from the universe trying to get your attention. If this message finds you at a pivotal moment, if these words echo a truth your spirit has been silently screaming, then you are exactly where you are meant to be. Let your soul be heard in the comments below with a simple "I resonate" or 777 to connect with the collective energy of everyone on this sacred path of awakening. Your story matters, and your presence here is a sign. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, so we can continue this journey of profound discovery together. There exists a secret, a profound and wild truth about the architecture of life, a truth that you only begin to perceive when you finally, utterly, stop trying so hard. It is in the sacred moment of release, the deep, soul-shaking exhale of letting go, that the very things you were desperately chasing begin to turn around and find you. This is not a trick of the mind, nor is it a random stroke of luck or a mere coincidence. This, my friend, is the fundamental law of spiritual physics. It is the way the universe breathes. It is how divine energy truly works, how life itself flows like a majestic, unstoppable river beneath all the frantic noise, the anxious chatter, and the fearful plans we construct in our minds. It's a dance, and for too long, you've been trying to lead, stepping on the toes of destiny. You see, when you are gripping onto an outcome with a white-knuckled intensity, when your entire being is vibrating with the desperate need for something to happen, your spiritual frequency becomes rigid and dissonant. Your energy, which is meant to be fluid and magnetic, stiffens into a brittle cage of your own making. In this state of tension, you unknowingly begin to block the very blessings you so deeply crave. You're sending a powerful signal of lack out into the cosmos, a vibration that screams, "I do not have this, and I fear I never will." You become a closed circuit, a fortress so well defended that nothing new, nothing beautiful, nothing divinely orchestrated can possibly get in. It is the ultimate paradox. Your desperate attempt to control becomes the very source of your powerlessness. Think of it like this: trying to capture the flow of life with a clenched fist is an exercise in futility. Imagine standing at the edge of a great, powerful river, the river of life itself. You see something you desire floating by: love, success, peace. In your panic, you try to catch it by clenching your fists and plunging them into the water. You squeeze with all your might, your muscles straining, your knuckles white. But what happens? The water, the very essence of what you seek, slips right through your fingers. The more desperately you grip, the less you hold. This is the energy of forcing, the frequency of struggle. You are creating a dam of resistance against the very flow that is meant to carry your blessings to you. The universe isn't punishing you. It's simply responding to the physics of your spiritual posture. Now, take a moment and let your mind drift back. Journey through the chapters of your own story. Think about all the times you were desperate for something, a specific love that you believed would complete you, a career milestone that you thought would finally validate you, an answer to a question that kept you awake in the dead of night. Remember the pressure, the anxiety, the relentless pushing, and recall with honesty how the harder you pushed, the further that desired reality seemed to drift away, like a ship disappearing over the horizon. The energy of your neediness created a powerful repellent force, a spiritual static that jammed the frequency of receiving. But then, think about the other moments, the moments when you finally reached a point of exhaustion, a point of sacred surrender. The moment you threw your hands up to the heavens and whispered, "I can't anymore. Whatever happens, happens. I trust." What occurred in the quiet aftermath of that release? Suddenly, didn't the world shift? Doors you never even knew existed creaked open. Opportunities, like shy but curious animals, began to emerge from the woods of the unknown. The right people, the souls who resonated with your true frequency, just showed up, as if they had been waiting for your invitation all along. This is not a coincidence. This is a consequence of alignment. When you let go of needing a specific outcome, your entire energetic signature transforms. It shifts from the low, dense vibration of scarcity and fear to the high, luminous frequency of trust and abundance. Your soul stops screaming in desperation and starts humming a song of quiet confidence. And you must understand this. Life, the universe, source, energy, whatever name you give it always, without exception, responds more powerfully and more beautifully to the frequency of trust than it does to the frequency of fear. Because the energy of needing says, I am empty, I am lacking, and I don't trust the universe to fill me. It is a declaration of your own incompleteness. Letting go, on the other hand, is a profound declaration of your inherent wholeness. It sends a clear, powerful signal to the universe that says, I am already whole, I am already complete, and I am open to receiving the blessings that are in alignment with my highest good. If it comes, it is a beautiful addition to my already beautiful life. And if it doesn't, I remain whole, I remain at peace, for I trust that I am being guided and protected. This subtle, yet monumental shift in your inner state is what flips the entire game of life on its head. It is the secret key that turns the lock you've been fighting against. Most people don't realize this fundamental truth. They believe that letting go is a synonym for giving up, for admitting defeat. But this couldn't be further from the sacred reality. Letting go isn't about surrendering your dreams. It's about surrendering the struggle. It's about having the wisdom and the courage to step out of your own way long enough for life to work for you instead of you constantly working against it. When you are perpetually trying to micromanage every detail and control every outcome, you are operating from a place of deep-seated fear, the fear that it won't happen, the fear that you're not good enough to deserve it, the fear that if you dare to stop trying for even a moment, your entire world will collapse into chaos. But that fear itself is the trap. It's the illusion, because the universe is not built on the brittle foundation of force. It is built on the eternal, graceful foundation of flow. Have you ever truly noticed how the most magical, life-altering experiences often come when you are simply living? When you are present in the moment, fully engaged in your joy, your passion, your peace. When you're not anxiously watching the clock of your life, tapping your foot, demanding that the future arrive on your predetermined schedule. When you're not squeezing the life out of your own potential with the pressure of expectation. Think about the friendships that have stood the test of time, the ones that feel like coming home. You didn't force them into existence with a checklist and a strategy, did you? They blossomed organically in the shared soil of laughter and authenticity. And the opportunities that changed the entire trajectory of your life, didn't you often stumble into them when you were passionately pursuing something else? When you were simply doing your thing, not begging the world to notice your worth? The moments that made your soul feel truly, breathtakingly alive, they were not meticulously planned or manufactured on a spreadsheet. They were lived, they were breathed, they were allowed. This is because life isn't responding to your frantic effort. It's responding to your core energy, your deepest vibration. And your energy is at its most clear, its most pure, and its most powerfully magnetic when you are at peace with yourself. Not when you're needy, not when you're desperate, but when you are simply, profoundly trusting. Because when you trust, you enter a state of divine alignment. And when you are in alignment, the things that are meant for you, the experiences that are written in the stars of your destiny, no longer have to be chased. They don't have to be wrestled into submission. They simply arrive. Here's something very few people will ever tell you, a truth that can set you free. The more you chase the feeling of certainty, the more you actually invite chaos into your life. Why? Because needing everything to make perfect sense right now, demanding every answer immediately, is an act of spiritual impatience. It closes you off from the winding, scenic, and often mysterious paths that life wants to lead you on, paths you cannot even see from your current vantage point. Life possesses an intelligence far deeper and more intricate than your conscious plans. It is constantly weaving a tapestry of possibilities, opportunities, divine meetings, and synchronistic chances that are far beyond what your rational mind could ever orchestrate. But when you are clinging tightly to your one single idea of how things must unfold, you become blind to the thousand other, often better, ways that life is trying to hand you your dreams. You know those devastating moments when a plan falls apart, a relationship ends, or a door closes, and you panic? You think it's the worst thing that could possibly happen. It feels like the end of the world, and yet, months or even years later, you look back with the clarity of hindsight and realize it was the absolute best thing that could have ever happened for you. It was a sacred redirection. That is not an accident. That is life answering your deeper needs, not your surface level fears. The more you loosen your grip, the more you release the need for a specific outcome at a specific time, the more sacred space you create for something even better, something more aligned with your soul's evolution, to rush in and fill the void. Trust is not a passive state. Do not mistake surrender for inaction. Trust is one of the most powerful and active forces in the universe. It is a conscious choice that declares, I am showing up fully. I am taking inspired action. I am being the best version of myself. But I am not desperate for the outcome to look exactly how my limited ego thinks it should. It's about moving forward without dragging your rigid expectations behind you like heavy, clanking chains. When you embody this state of being, you will start to notice a palpable shift in your reality. People will be drawn to your calm, centered energy. Opportunities will find you with more ease and grace. And somehow, without all the exhausting fighting and struggling, the very things you once wrestled with will begin to unfold with less resistance and more magic. This happens because the energy of trust isn't frantic, it's magnetic, and life, in its infinite wisdom, always answers the energy you lead with. It mirrors your inner state. Here's where it gets even more real. Most people don't trust life because they've been conditioned from birth to trust fear more than they trust possibility. From the moment we are young, we are taught to plan for disaster, to expect betrayal, to protect ourselves from the sting of disappointment. So, naturally, the act of trusting feels unsafe. It feels reckless. It feels like standing on the edge of a cliff with no harness. But here is the hidden truth that no one ever tells you. You are already standing on that cliff. You always have been. Because life was never controllable or predictable in the first place. All the planning, all the micromanaging, all the anxiety, they only create the illusion of safety. They are a fragile harness woven from fear. Real, unshakable safety isn't found in controlling the uncontrollable. It's found in learning to surf the magnificent, unpredictable waves of life, not in a futile attempt to dam the entire ocean. It's about learning to be fully alive inside the chaos, not fighting against it, not begging it to calm down, but moving with it in a graceful dance you've always secretly known the steps to. When you lean into trust, you don't stop caring about your dreams. You just stop trying to wrestle them into existence. You stop suffocating them with the pressure of your timelines and your fears. And you realize something incredibly powerful. What is truly meant for you is not fragile. It doesn't need you to squeeze it tightly. It needs you to meet it halfway, with open palms and an open heart, not with clenched fists and a closed mind. Every single thing you are trying to force right now, every person you are chasing, every goal you are strangling, you are blocking it by gripping it with fear instead of meeting it with trust. And the moment you ease that grip, the moment you take a deep breath and say to the universe, I trust you to lead me where I am meant to go, everything starts to move faster, but also softer, easier, more naturally, because you are no longer standing in your own way. The struggle you feel in life isn't because you're doing the wrong things. It's because you're doing them with an energy of tightness, with fear thrumming just beneath the surface, with that nagging voice in your head whispering, if I don't make this happen, I will lose everything. You start to panic when results don't show up immediately, and you think you're failing when really, you're just forcing. Life doesn't respond to force, it responds to alignment. When you're acting from fear, you create resistance. But when you're acting from trust, you create momentum. Think about someone you've met who is effortlessly magnetic. It's not because they are trying so hard or because they are desperate, it's because they are relaxed. They trust themselves, they trust their path, and they trust life to carry them. They have a different energy field, and you can have that too. You don't need to become better or stronger or more impressive, you simply need to become lighter. You need to remember that you are already enough, without needing to squeeze life into a perfect, rigid timeline. The moment you stop trying to control every outcome, the outcomes you truly desire start flowing to you naturally, like a river that finally finds its course once the boulders of fear have been cleared away. The less you panic, the more you open. The less you chase, the more you attract. The less you grip, the more you grow. It's not about doing less, it's about being different. You become a calmer, wiser, more powerful version of yourself, not because you forced it, but because you trusted yourself enough to allow it. This is the real paradox. The more you loosen your grip, the stronger your results become. It sounds almost unfair, doesn't it? After all the hustling, all the grinding, all the controlling of every detail, things still slip through your fingers. But the moment you ease up, the right opportunities, the right people, and the right moment start to land right in your lap. It is not magic, it is energy. When you are desperate, people feel it. They can sense the tension underneath, that please let this work out energy. and it pushes things away. But when you stop depending on the outcome to define you, you move differently. You don't need things to happen anymore. You choose for them to happen from a place of sovereign strength instead of fearful survival. And that small, internal shift changes absolutely everything, because life, strangely enough, mirrors your inner state. If you are constantly doubting, life will keep throwing obstacles to test you. If you are constantly trusting, life starts throwing open doors you didn't even know existed. It's a silent contract you have with reality. I will trust you to unfold, and you will trust me to show up. You begin to see that life's delays are actually divine setups. You realize that missed opportunities were actually sacred protections. You trust that what is for you is moving towards you, even when you can't see it yet. That's the hidden advantage that most people never tap into. They never realize that trust is the shortcut they were looking for all along. When you trust life, you stop forcing timelines that were never meant for you in the first place. Most people are obsessed with speed. I need to make it happen now. If it's not happening yet, it must be failing. But speed means nothing if you're racing toward the wrong thing. Trust is the art of letting the right things take their natural, beautiful shape, even if it's slower than your ego wants. Because what you force often breaks, and what you trust often builds itself stronger than you could have ever designed. The biggest things in your life probably didn't arrive on your personal deadline. They showed up in their own time, in ways you could have never planned. That's what life does when you stop screaming, "Where is it?" and start whispering, "I'm ready when you are." There's a rhythm to your life that's so much bigger than the pressure you feel right now. When you step into trust, you align yourself with that rhythm. You stop interrupting your own blessings with fear. You stop rushing into places you were never meant to be. You let life surprise you in the best ways, because you trust that the unseen things working for you are more powerful than the visible ones working against you. The funny part? When you start living this way, people notice. They see you walking differently, radiating a peace they can't quite explain, and they wonder what changed. But you'll know, it wasn't luck. It wasn't magic, it was trust. The kind of trust that says, I don't chase, I align, I don't demand, I prepare. I don't panic, I receive. And that, my friend, is when life stops being a battle and starts feeling like a beautiful conversation you were finally patient enough to listen to.